Next up, while Boston Mayor Marty Walsh waits for the Senate to confirm him for his new job of U.S. Labor Secretary, the field of candidates running for his current job just keeps getting more crowded. Walsh's longtime economic development chief, John Barros, threw his hat into the ring this morning, joining city councilors Michelle Wu, Andrea Campbell, and Anissa Sabi-George, and State Rep John Santiago. Before joining the Walsh administration, Barros served for 3 years on the Boston School Committee and 13 years as the executive director of the Dudley Street Neighborhood Initiative. John Barros joins me now. John, congratulations. Good to see you.
Jim, it's good to see you. Thank you very much.
So 8 years ago, you ran for mayor. The good news is you got the Globe endorsement. The bad news is you came in sixth. Why's the second time the charm, John?
Well, I think bad news is all depending on how you look at it, Jim. I thought beating out all of those sitting city councilors was a really good race. We didn't have a lot of time to get in there. I was an executive of a nonprofit. I was known well in one part of the city, but needed to get my name out there in other parts of the city, so it was an uphill climb. We picked up serious momentum there at the last part of the campaign, last part of the race, but needed a little bit more time. Now I get the extension I was looking for. Really excited about it.
What are you proudest of your 7 years with the Walsh administration?
You know, I'm proud of how we were able to decrease unemployment in neighborhoods that have historic high unemployment rates. When we took Boston's unemployment rate to 2.4%, we were able to bring unemployment to single digits in Roxbury, in Dorchester, and Mattapan. I'm proud of the fact that we were able to increase the hiring goals on city benefited projects, the construction hiring goals, to 51% local, 40% minority, 12% women for construction jobs, and then move the numbers in increasing diversity in our trades. Those are the kinds of things that I'm proud of.
Speaking of diversity, though, or lack of same, on your watch in the mayor's first term, we all read this report a week or so ago. City contracting with firms owned by black people under 0.5%, firms owned by Latino people under 1%. Do you take any responsibility for those, frankly, pitiful numbers?
You know, Jim, it's been 400 years of pitiful numbers. The difference between us and the administrations before us is we were transparent with those numbers. The only way we can have change is by letting people know what's going on, look at the numbers, and then ask the question why. So we spent some time to make sure that we could create the conditions for a successful disparity study, because disparity studies before that had failed. So after 5 years of making sure we had quality numbers and data, we launched a disparity study. And in fact, it was a successful disparity study. It gave us the roadmap for what we need to do to change those trends. And I'm really excited and proud that the mayor signed an executive order to put in place 25% goal for spending on women and minority-owned business contracts. That's historic high. Now I need to get back in there to make sure that we can meet that goal. We've got to split contracts up and make sure that they're small enough. We've got to provide some cash flow for the businesses that we want to work with. We've got to create some technical assistance and some ways to make procurement easier and more streamlined in the city of Boston to get the numbers done.
You know, in addition to being the economic chief for the city for a long time, you're also a small business owner. I'm acting like I'm telling you something you don't know. You are co-owner of a restaurant, Cesaria. Is that how you pronounce it? Did I get it right, or close at least?
It's really good, Jim. That gets you a free dish.
It's not really good, but it's good enough. What have you learned there that would inform how you do the job as mayor?
You know, as I was leading the city's effort to support small businesses during the pandemic, I was also feeling the pinch as a small business owner. And so we had to make some serious cuts, some devastating decisions during the last year. So I knew what small businesses were feeling. I knew the kind of decisions they needed to make. So I also knew that the technical assistance that we provided the city was really critical, so that they can help small businesses be able to access federal grants and programs, the relief funds that we put in place. We put out more than $16 million in direct relief to small businesses. And just be clear, my business didn't get any of that, right? But we were out there to help other businesses and make sure that small businesses can survive. It is important that they survive and that we begin to thrive post the pandemic. But the only way we can do it is taking care of them now.
Did you have a conversation with your former boss about your decision to make a run?
Oh, we've had plenty of conversations.
What's he said to you?
He said, "What's taking you so long?" I said, "Mayor, it's the work here at City Hall. I've got to help the transition." So at the same time, he's saying, "Hey, John, make sure we can close out this work or this initiative, and let's give Kim Janey what she needs to make sure that she's successful when she comes in." He also urged me to get out here quickly and establish a campaign and get going.
Is he, I don't believe a cabinet member can endorse candidates. I may be wrong. Has he suggested that he supports your candidacy?
Well, I mean, you know, a cabinet member can't endorse a candidate.
Yeah.
Any endorsements coming from D.C. will come from Biden, and I'll give Biden a call, but Biden's not going to weigh in on a mayoral race. So I'm looking forward as chief of economic, as the mayor of the city of Boston, to work with our new Secretary of Labor and the president to make sure that Boston is participating in the kind of federal programs that they're planning to put out.
John, we only have a minute left. What would you say Mayor Walsh has done best that you would like to continue or emulate? And what has he done worst where you want to pursue a different direction?
You know, Mayor Walsh has done an amazing job to create space for race dialogues. We really, in the city of Boston, are more conscious. And we started before the country's reckoning with race. We created a foundation for the conversation, and we're going to continue to have them. I want to continue to have that kind of conversation because Boston gets a bad rap nationally. We're not that city, but we've got a lot to work on. We've got a lot more work to do to make sure that the big gap, the big race wealth gap, such as $247,000 for white families and $8 for black families, we have to really move the needle on that. That's unacceptable.
So, and where did he fall down where you won't enter the same pothole? Quickly, if you can.
The mayor started a lot of amazing initiatives, and we were just talking about it the other day, that he's not able to finish. And I'm looking forward to get in there, take the Imagine Boston 2030 plan, and continue to implement a lot of the things that we have been talking to residents about doing.
Fair enough. John Barros, I'll call you about that dish, but in the meantime, good luck. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jim.